So with this Polo Vivo here, you know, we're going to be replacing discs and pads, okay, brake pads and disc. And the reason we're going to do that is because there is a hell of a shudder on this car. You know, when you're driving anywhere from 80 to 100, 120, the higher your speed that you're braking from, the more violently the steering wheel and the front of the car shakes because of the buckle in the disc. Now, a lot of people would basically just go ahead and replace the disc, you know, but in this case, I just feel that there's too much of a ridge on the disc. The disc pads are very thick, but when you do put on new disc, you've got to put on new pads as well. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to do one side because they're both the same. So all that you do is you pull out these, you know, here are these little plastic caps here, you know, on the slide tubes of the calipers. Okay, there we go. We just take them off quickly so that we can get our spanner in there. And the spanner that we're going to be using is basically a size 7 Allen key. Okay, that we'll use to loosen up the slides, okay, the caliper slides. We just loosen them up nicely. Make sure you insert your Allen key properly before you put pressure on it so you don't spoil it. Okay, you'll see here's a little grub screw here. Okay, it just holds the position of the disc on the hub, you know, so that the hub doesn't slide. Okay, that by no means is the only thing that holds the disc on the hub. Okay, the 5 bolts of the wheel nuts, they basically hold it in position. This is just, you know, when you're working on it, because I'll show you now, once we've got this grub screw out, you will actually see what I'm talking about. If that grub screw, there's the grub screw, it's a size 30 Torx, okay? It's a short screw. Now you see what happens. Okay, the disc basically, you know, can now rotate on the hub. Okay, we don't want that when we're doing disc pads, because then it's going to be pulling apart and you're going to struggle to get the disc on. If you look at the disc there, you can see there's plenty of meat there on the disc pads. Okay, but we're going to now replace this because this has worn into the pattern of the disc, and we're not going to skim the disc. We're going to put brand new disc. We're going to be using a Ferrodo disc, okay, which is one of the good brands, and then we're going to be using a Bosch disc pad set. So basically all we need for the caliper removal is going to be our size 7 Allen key. I use a long extension, long extension one, you know, just to make it easier to take it off. So basically you just turn it until the thread is completely turned out. I can't see, I got a feel here now. Anyway, you turn it until you get your slide out. The slide also doubles as a bolt that holds the caliper, you know, to the caliper carrier. So that's your Allen key there. That's what it looks like. Okay, your thread, that's your slide. Also make sure your slide is not seized up, okay, because you want your caliper to be able to slide, you know, so that when you apply brakes, that it slides and it doesn't bind. So now all that we do is we just pull the caliper off, and then the disc simply comes off. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take the new disc out of the box, and as I said, the reason that we are doing this is because here is a hell of a shudder on this car, and the faster you drive and you brake from, the more hellish the shudder is, you know, to slow the car down when you're applying the brakes now. So we'll just basically put this disc onto the hub, and then we'll put that grub screw back. That grub screw is very important to hold the disc in position while you are fiddling with the disc pads. Okay, let's just go and I might just have to, we'll see now if we're going to get I didn't push back the caliper, okay? So I'll just put the caliper on loosely like that, and then we'll just take our lever, and then we'll push, we get the piston back all the way, okay? Make sure that your piston is back all the way, so that when you put on the new disc, that you know it's actually going to fit. Alright, so we'll take it off. Now here is a way of putting these brake disc back, okay? Because the brake discs are different. The clips of the brake discs are different, okay? If you take a careful look at the two disc pads, okay, these are the brand new disc pads that we are going to put together now. If you look at those two, you can see those clips are distinctly different. This one's got more of an ear on, and it's bulkier. This goes on the inside. So this disc pad goes against the caliper, like so. Okay? You take the curvature, you see that curvature over there, that curvature's got to run with a disc there. Okay? So make sure that you put that curvature on the right side. Alright? And then all that you do is we just basically take the disc and we just put some pressure against it, and then we'll push it into the caliper, into the piston, like that. Okay. Now if we would try to do that with this, it won't work. Okay. And then this one basically slides on over here like that. Okay, you see the curvature? You've got to have the curvature right. Okay. So you push that down. Now that disc pad, the inner disc pad, will not fit here. Okay, won't work here because of the difference in the clips. Now also at the bottom here, you will find that you have to get, I might have to just bring this, you know, you've got to put the caliper on the right way, okay, because, let me just... When you put that caliper on like that, with that disc pad, with that ear of the disc pad on the outside, that's wrong. Okay, that is wrong. This ear of the caliper, you see here, that ear where my finger is now, that has to basically go, that ear has to go over to the inside. Can you see there? It goes to the inside of the caliper here, and then your ear of your disc pad is on this side. Okay, that is the correct way. Otherwise, you're never going to get these bolts to basically. You're never going to get the bolts to line up so that you can tie your caliper to your carrier. Okay, that is a very important part. That's where a lot of people make mistakes, and then they get all sorts of stupid things happening with their brakes. You know what I mean? The brakes shudder, or there's a hell of a noise on the brakes, and so on. So there is only that one way. I'll show you now again. So what you got to do, you basically got to fiddle with your sliders, yeah? Make sure that your sliders thread, and never put a spanner on this unless you know that you got proper thread there. Okay? Because if you spoil that thread, you're going to have to replace the carrier, which is going to be difficult because it's, you know, you're going to have to probably get it at a scrap yard or something. So you tighten up, I would say about 30 Newton meters worth of torque, okay, on the sliders. You tighten that up nicely like that. Boom. Okay, now you've got your disc pads basically fitted. Okay, don't forget to put your dust covers back here. They're very important because, you know, these things are all exposed to the elements, and you don't want any of this dirt and dust and grime to come up here and clog up your, you know, and then when you struggle to put your spanner on and you strip that thing down, you strip it down. Okay, so put those rubber, plastic dust caps back. They're very important. You know, and all that you need to do now is do not forget, and I reiterate here, do not forget to go and pump the brakes so that you can get the disc pads to come right up against the disc. Okay, because if you do not do that and you drive the car, that first stamp on the brakes, there's going to be little or no brakes at all. Okay, so this is basically how we replace a disc. And as I said, you know, the disc might look okay and all that, but it's shuddering like crazy. And your disc pads are pretty thick. I mean, really. You can actually hang on to these disc pads for in emergency situations, you know. But I normally just toss them. And besides that, it's not such a good make, okay, of pad. And I think this pad's probably buggered the disc up in the first place because it's inferior quality. Okay, so Ferrodo and Bosch disc pads and Ferrodo disc, that's what I used. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you with the next video.